Darth Sidious had had most of his beloved Sith statues and ancient bas-reliefs removed from his ruined chambers, in the Senate office building, where 4 Jedi had lost their lives and 1 had been converted to the dark side. Relocated to the throne room, the statues had been placed on the dais, the sculptures mounted on the long walls. Swiveling his throne, Sidious gazed at them now. As some Jedi had feared from the start, Anakin had been ripe for conversion when Qui-Gon Jinn had first brought him to the temple, and for well over a decade all of Sidious's plans for the boy had unfolded without incident. But even Sidious hadn't foreseen Anakin's defeat by Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar. Anakin had still been between worlds then and vulnerable. The failure to defeat his former master had worked to prolong that vulnerability. Sidious recalled the desperate return trip to Coruscant, recalled using all his powers and all the potions and devices contained in his medkit to minister to Anakin's hopelessly blistered body and truncated limbs. He recalled thinking, what if Anakin should die? How many years would he have had to search for an apprentice even half as powerful in the Force, let alone one created by the Force itself to restore balance, by allowing the dark side to percolate fully to the surface after a millennium of being stifled? None would be found. Sidious would have had to discover a way to compel midichlorians to do his bidding and bring into being one as powerful as Anakin. As it was, Sidious and a host of medical droids had merely restored Anakin to life, which, while no small feat, was a far cry from returning someone from death. For thousands of years, the ability to survive death had been pursued by Sith and Jedi alike, and no one had been successful at discovering the secret. Beings had been saved from dying, but no one had cheated death. The most powerful of the ancient Sith Lords had known the secret, but it had been lost, or rather misplaced. Now that the galaxy was his to rule, there was nothing to prevent Sidious too from unlocking that mystery. Then he and his crippled apprentice might hold sway over the galaxy for 10,000 years and live eternally, if they didn't kill each other first. In large part because Padme Amidala had died. Sidious had deliberately brought her and Anakin together 3 years earlier, both to rid the Senate of her vote against the Military Creation Act and to put temptation in Anakin's path. Following the murder of Anakin's mother, Anakin had secretly married Padme. When he had learned of the marriage, Sidious knew for certain that Anakin's pathological attachment to her would eventually supply the means for completing his conversion to the dark side. Anakin's fears for her in actuality and in visions, and especially after Padme had become pregnant, had been heightened by keeping him far from her. Then it simply had been a matter of unmasking the Jedi for the hypocrites that they were, sacrificing Dooku to Anakin's rage and promising Anakin that Padme could be saved from death. The latter, an exaggeration necessary for Anakin's turn from what the Jedi called right thinking, for opening his eyes to his true calling. But such was the way of the Force. It provided opportunities, and one needed only to be ready to seize them. Not for the first time, Sidious wondered what might have happened had Anakin not killed Padme on Mustafar. For all she loved him, she never would have understood or forgiven Anakin's action at the Jedi Temple. In fact, that was one of the reasons Sidious had sent him there. Clone troopers could have dealt with the instructors and younglings, but Anakin's presence was essential in order to cement his allegiance to the Sith, and more important, to seal Padme's fate. Even if she had survived Mustafar, their love would have died. Padme might even have lost the will to live, and their child would have become Sidious's and Vader's to raise. Might that child have been the first member of a new Sith order of thousands or millions? Hardly. The idea of a Sith order was a corruption of the intent of the ancient Dark Lords. Fortunately, Darth Bane had understood that and had insisted that only in rare instances should there exist more than 2 lords, master and apprentice, at any given time. But 2 were necessary for the perpetuation of the Sith order, and so it fell to Sidious to complete Vader's convalescence. As Emperor Palpatine, he had no need to reveal his Sith training and mastery to anyone, and for the moment Vader was his crimson blade. Let the galaxy think what it would of Vader: fallen Jedi, surfaced Sith, political enforcer. It scarcely mattered, since fear would ultimately bring and keep everyone in line. Yes, Vader was not precisely what he had bargained for. Vader's legs and arms were artificial, and he would never be able to summon lightning or leap about like the Jedi had been fond of doing. His dark side training was just beginning. But Sith power resided not in the flesh but in the will. Self-restraint was praised by the Jedi only because they didn't know the power of the dark side. Vader's real weaknesses were psychological rather than physical, and for Vader to overcome them he would need to be driven deeper into himself, to confront all his choices and his disappointments. Powered by treachery, the Sith master-apprentice relationship was always a dangerous game. Trust was encouraged, even while being sabotaged. Loyalty was demanded, even while betrayal was prized. Suspicion was nourished, even while honesty was praised. In some sense, it was survival of the fittest. Fundamental to Vader's growth was the desire to overthrow his master. Had Vader killed Obi-Wan on Mustafar, he might have attempted to kill Sidious as well. In fact, Sidious would have been surprised if Anakin hadn't made an attempt. Now, however, incapable of so much as breathing on his own, Vader could not rise to the challenge, and Sidious understood that he would need to do everything in his power to shake Vader out of his despair and reawaken the incredible power within him, even at Sidious's own peril. Alert to a mild disturbance in the Force, he swung toward the throne room holoprojector a moment before a half-life-size image of Mas Amedda resolved from thin air. "My lord, I apologize for intruding on your meditation," the Chagrian said, "but an encrypted Jedi code transmission has been picked up and is being monitored in the Tian cluster." "More survivors of Order 66, Sidious said. "Apparently so, my lord. Shall I summon Lord Vader?" Sidious considered it. Would additional Jedi deaths be enough to heal Vader's wounds? Perhaps, perhaps not, but not yet in any case. "No," he said finally. "I have need of Lord Vader on Coruscant."